Welcome to My Biz Coaches. We're on day 3 of the fast track to coaching success. In this series, we're unlocking the secrets to going from zero to profit in just 90 days. Stay tuned as we dive into actionable strategies that will transform budding coaches into thriving business owners.
Well, Eric, excited for part 3, bringing this thing home, giving tips and advice for folks that are looking at starting a coaching business, whether that's a side hustle or going full-time. Great information in the previous 2 episodes. If you haven't already checked those out, you may want to hit pause on this, maybe save it to your watch later. Go check those out before we dive into this 3rd segment so you can get caught up on kind of that roadmap of success. And with that in mind, Eric, kind of walk us through what's kind of the end of that 90-day jumpstart period. What does that look like?
Appreciate it, David. Yeah, as you get in through, we started with the first phase, which was kind of prepping everything, getting it ready. Again, you'll likely not do everything that you needed to do, but you'll at least have a handful of those things laid out. The first 30 days, you'll be working through the things that you forgot to do or didn't get done or didn't think of. But those first 30 days, trying to get yourself out there, put your name out there, you might find some frustration in that you probably haven't found a client in the first 30 days. If you did, congratulations, that's outstanding. If you didn't, don't get frustrated, because the reality is it does take time. You have to build the know, like, and trust factor. And really, as we were discussing on our coaching call last night with our coaches, is that it's more like the trust factor. If I met you, but I trust you, at least there's something about you that makes me trust you. The know and like is kind of as long as I trust what you're sharing with me. If you can show competency and I don't think you're going to take advantage of me, I'm interested in learning more about how you can help me. Put me into a free situation, give me some information, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, yeah, this is somebody I could work with. I've met clients literally the first time we met and we were doing business within 2 days. So it's feasible, not often, but it is feasible. So don't be surprised. At the same time, don't get frustrated if you haven't found your results just yet. So now we're on day 31 to day 90. So the next 60 days, which would now compound to 120 total days, but your first 90 days in business. Again, as David mentioned, if you were doing this as a side hustle, you need to approach it as it's your real business, even if it is a side hustle, because if you do not, who would want a coach that's only doing it half time? I'm trying to keep this clean and PC, but if you're only doing it half rear-ended, then the reality is they would expect the same kind of results, and consequently, they're not likely to take you seriously. So you have to approach it correctly. So as I talk about, first most important thing is client engagement and retention. Provide exceptional value and follow up consistently. I will tell you that, again, if there was an opportunity that I could have been better at, it was following up consistently with my clients. In a lot of our coaching sessions, we typically engage once a week for an hour. And, it would not be uncommon for me in the early days to go a whole week and not even have a conversation with my client in between. Whereas other clients, I had bigger clients in the beginning, and I might see them 3-4 times in that same week. Right. So those people that I only saw once a week, it wasn't anything wrong with that. It's just in between, there's a lot of time. I don't think people realize that as much as they need to in the coaching space. Having managed large organizations, we had a process in place that we engaged with our employees daily, and we managed large teams, large organizations. I at one point had as many as 10 different markets that I was responsible for, and we got on conference calls every day, 6 days a week, including Saturday. And I say that to really help identify that, okay, the point is it's your ability to course correct and adjust. And with a client, it's no different than managing an employee relationship. With a client, you're helping them move their business forward. And the discipline of engaging and staying on top of what you're doing on a daily basis is significantly important. So finding ways to kind of engage with your client daily, or at least every few days, as opposed to just once a week is really valuable. And we continue to implement more and more of those strategies to be able to do that effectively. Again, use your automations. And if you're not familiar with how to do that, I would encourage you to do some due diligence, because all of your clients need that. The advancements of AI and the tech stacks that are out there that you can leverage for that follow-up and client fulfillment and things like that, so valuable. And it's a huge component of business today. And make sure you implement a client feedback system. Again, each time you engage with your client, what's gone on since last time? What are your wins? What are your opportunities you need to improve on? And what could we be doing better? Don't be afraid to ask your client what could be doing better, because you may work with them for 3 to 6 months or 9 months or a year even, and they don't feel like we're making progress, and you're not asking the question. They may be shy. They may not share that with you. They likely will, but some may not. And they just quietly quit, right? We talk about quiet and quitting employees. You can have clients quietly quit as well. So if you're not engaging with them and challenging and saying, okay, hey, how do you feel like we're progressing? How are things going? You likely know, but you want them to say it, because if they say it, it's their endorsement, and that makes you feel better about the relationship. Scaling up as you continue to build your business. This might be a little premature in the sense that you're only 90 days in, but evaluate the demand and the capacity. I quickly identified during COVID how much opportunity there was to grow my consulting business. And within a year, I changed my brand from Superior Consulting Solutions to My Biz Coaches and began to recruit other coaches. So within a year of being in the coaching space, I recognized there was a ton of opportunity, way more than I could handle by myself. So don't be afraid to recognize that you may need some solutions. You may need some support. It could be something as simple as a virtual assistant to take on some of the admin tasks and things like that, or maybe it's marketing solutions. But don't be afraid to recognize that early on and pay attention to that. One of the pieces of advice I gave somebody earlier today in a coaching session was realize that everything you do, you should be planning to hand that responsibility off to somebody else. So think through that as you're growing your business. Always be marketing, continue to market. You can't market enough. I'll steal a phrase from Grant Cardone. I've used this many times. It's be known or be broke. If people don't know who you are, you don't have clients, right? And the reality is you have to be out there all the time, as much as you can, letting people know what you do, how you do it, who you help, how you help them. You just need to be constantly out there doing it. I mean, this is going to be your primary responsibility for probably the first 2 or 3 years in business. Whether that's you personally out there going out and doing it, or you investing a lot of time and money and resources into marketing the brand. But you've got to get yourself out there. You've got to get your brand out there, and you've got to leverage your partnerships to do that as much as you can. Enhance your SEO strategies, all your online marketing, engage in your social media. At this point, you may want to consider bringing in that virtual assistant or employing a marketing agency to help with those components. Again, don't spend more than you need to. You can do this on your own. It does take a little bit of discipline. It probably will require you, to get better at things that you might not normally sit and do, post on video and or post videos and respond on social media and all that kind of stuff. But it is something you need to use. I use it as an opportunity when I do this consistently. When I'm doing this on a regular basis, one of the things I like to do is kind of look and see what everybody else is doing and pay attention to their messaging. So just a side note. And I would also then add in review and adjust. Pay attention to what's working and pay attention to what's not working. What's not working needs to be corrected. What is working, do more of it. And as much as you can, do that. So if you recognize that having live events, doing speaking engagements at the Rotary Club and the Better Business Bureau and the wherever, and you're getting in front of 20, 30, 40, 50 people, even for 5 or 10 minutes to tell your story, it's not uncommon for me to stand in front of a group and do a presentation and have a half a dozen people walk up to me afterwards and ask for more information. That was 10 minutes well spent. Do the same thing on social media and you can leverage it, similarly. And again, I'll remind you that there's a great opportunity if you consider this, and this is a business that you think you really want to get into. Consider looking at what My Biz Coaches has to offer. mybizcoaches.com/coach. We have a great opportunity. You can go ahead and scan that QR code, learn more about our business in a box to help your coaching business get off the ground. Huge opportunity in this space. There's a ton of growth. There's a lot of new things coming. We're investing a lot of time and money into AI and helping people understand how to leverage AI in your current, not just in your coaching business, but all of your clients will benefit from this. And most of them don't even know. I mean, if we're looking at the bell curve for adoption of AI, artificial intelligence, if you're looking at the bell curve, we're still in the early adopter phase. We're hardly in the big phase. Is about 30%. We're not even close to that yet. And so the reality is there's a lot of people out there that don't know. I mean, you think about it, it's really only been around for about a year and a half. So if you got in and you learned how to leverage this technology and incorporate it into your coaching strategies, you'll have a huge advantage over a lot of other people that are out there today that are avoiding it because they don't want to learn more about it. So significant opportunity out there. Last couple of things I'd throw in there. Again, continue to analyze your performance, recognize what's working for you, pay attention, make sure that whatever marketing you're doing, you're having a tracking process. By now, if you haven't already written an ebook, you should have an ebook. You should have a number of different marketing resources. Could be a survey or a quiz that you have people take to learn more about their business or where they may be opportunities they may have in their business. Generally, we like to focus with service-based businesses, mostly because those are people who are really good at what they do. They just maybe don't have the experience in running a business. And so we come in and we help them with that part of it. If they've already got a great product or service, we can accelerate that and help that grow even faster. If they got a bad product or service, they're probably not going to be in business for much longer anyway. So make sure that you're, identifying who those good people are that have a good business and a good brand, and help them leverage that. Strengthen your relationships. I spend as much time building new partnerships and new relationships as I do finding new clients. And I encourage anybody as a coach, your relationships with partners is probably as important as your client base. So make sure that you're continuing to look for solutions that you can incorporate to into your toolbox, so to speak, of referrals and people you can introduce clients to. Continue to develop your marketing strategy, your content strategy. How often are you writing? Are you writing newsletters? You should be incorporating a newsletter. You should be putting that out there. A podcast is a great idea. I know it sounds like it's a lot. It really isn't once you've done it. It'll take some time to set it up. So don't try and do them all at one time. Maybe start with the newsletter, especially if you're a pretty good writer. I happen to be a relatively good writer. At least I am now. It wasn't then. But it'll grow over time. You get comfortable with it. You can incorporate that into your other marketing strategies. Same thing with the podcast. You can leverage the videos just like we do. And ask for more feedback. Get people to give you insight and things that they think that you could, they like about what you do, things that they maybe have encouragement of what you could do better. Ask for honest feedback. It will absolutely help you. Build that community. Engage people to encourage them to share and bring people together, and continue to look for how you can scale your business. And then most importantly, as a coach, you should quickly identify, you should be very familiar with KPIs and what are the key things that you should be tracking. Key KPIs or key performance indicators. You should know, being a coach, that your clients need to know what their numbers are. You need to know what your numbers are. You need to know what are the most important things. So every time I have a webinar, I get, 200 people register. I get 75 people to show. Out of those 75, I get 20 that are engaged and interested. And, I have 3 to 5 sales conversations out of that. When you can match those numbers, then it's just a matter of how many more webinars do I have, right, to get to the number of clients that I want to get to. And make sure that you have an upsell and a downsell in your sales process. By now, you're identifying who your target audience is, what's the right sweet spot from a price point, length of engagement, all those kind of things. And what you want to do at this point is really kind of fine tune your pricing strategy and make sure that you've got something that makes sense for all of your clients, or at least your primary clients who you want to focus on. And then as you determine that you've got the right price point, then determine what's my upsell, what's my downsell. and what are some other ways I can make some additional revenue in my business. But a six-figure income's a drop in the bucket. That should be within 18 months, you should easily be in a six-figure income, and likely a multi-six-figure income within the first 2 or 3 years. So the key here is to get you to profit within 90 days, which if you can't do that, then you got something broken. And I would strongly encourage you to kind of evaluate that and maybe get some support. But at My Biz Coaches, that's what we do. We help our clients, our coaches grow and scale their business and become successful business coaches. So if you have a need, I encourage you to take a look at our site again and scan that QR code, go check it out, and we're happy to have that conversation with you.
Awesome. Well, great stuff, Eric. Good wrap up to the series that we've been working through. And I just want to mention, if you enjoyed kind of the content today or in any of these episodes, definitely make sure you subscribe. New videos every week on topics just like this. So definitely check that out. And I was thinking back on the episodes, Eric, there are a couple of things I wanted to kind of recap that really resonated with me. One is, I think a lot of people overlook the importance of that pre-launch strategy. So in the first episode in the series, you kind of talked about that, like, hey, before we even talk about the first 30 days, let's talk about the 30 days leading up to launch, right? Because that's so important, and start networking and, thinking about all those things that you need to do before you're kind of, on the clock and need to start making money. So I think that's really important. You also talked about the importance of your specialty. And I think that's something I know new coaches do a lot, is they kind of overextend themselves, not by taking on too many clients, but getting into areas that they're not comfortable in. And that creates so many issues and challenges. And then automation. I know that's something that's been really big for, My Biz Coaches, right? What you guys are doing is, how do we automate? How do we streamline? How do we make things more efficient? And as a solopreneur, which a lot of, first-time coaches are, you've got to leverage technology because you don't have a team, right? So I think that's really important. You have a team now, but it didn't start that way, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You got to learn that.
If I can add something to that, David, I think the important part is, and I wish I had done a better job of this early on, was, I'm talking about the importance of technology and leveraging technology to be able to scale your business. I didn't do a lot of coaching to that early on. I recognized there was opportunity for it. I would mention it from time to time, but as we got closer, and when ChatGPT launched a year and a half ago, and that became all the rage and everything like that, I was like, wow, this is, I knew it was there. I didn't understand to the degree that it is today. And the takeaway for me was, this is a game changer. This is going to change business in a dramatic way. And I even made the comment the other day to a group of people. I said, people don't realize the impact this is going to have. So my point was that I wish I had taken the time to do more of that early on, because I was preaching it. When I started talking about it, I hadn't introduced it into my business for my client. Right. So, if you're going to talk about it, be a product of it, right? Don't talk about it and not be a product of it. And that's the opportunity. So you have the opportunity, if you're getting started, set it up right from the beginning and leverage that, because I'm going to tell you right now, it will be the difference between you and the average coach out there, because most coaches have not embrace this technology yet.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that's important that leads to actually my next topic that stood out as you were going through all these different tips is, do it before you scale, right? If you build those things before you get scale, it makes scaling so much easier, instead of, oh man, now I've got a team of coaches under me, I've got support staff, and now I'm trying to, take this archaic process and digitize it. So much easier to start with something digital, start with something automated, and scale with it. And I think part of that too, as you and I have worked in different businesses and helped to scale them over the years, one of the things we've learned is, when you're not rapidly growing, you have those little lulls, right, where maybe business isn't as strong. Use that time to refine your process and figure out, what's working, what's not working, and get better at it. So don't kind of rest during those slower seasons. Make sure you're spending that time making the process better. And then you've told this story a number of times on other episodes, but when things are going really good, don't stop your marketing, right? So
Right.
keep that going too, right? Make sure, you don't get lured into, oh yeah, this is awesome. I have so many clients. And then it takes a while for that to catch back up once you stop. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, great point.
Cool. Yeah, and then just a couple other things. One was you mentioned this a lot, but get some lead magnets. 2 or 3 tools, freebies, build that newsletter base. I think super smart. And you and I have both lived this, but pivot is needed, right? Whether that's your brand, your offer, your marketing, got to stay flexible. And then I love one of the last things you said, just really resonated with me was, don't forget to focus on your business too, right? You're spending all this time coaching other businesses. You have to detach occasionally and look at, okay, am I profitable? Like, what are my KPIs? What does that
Right.
look like? And, you don't want to be the cobbler's kids that don't have any shoes, right? Make sure you're spending time on your own business and, maybe even getting a coach for yourself so to get that objective perspective. So love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's that phrase that you said. I don't know if the first time I used it was probably about 1.5 years ago, but it was like, we all need an objective perspective on our businesses, right? Because it's the nobody has an ugly baby analogy, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's my baby. I own it. Right. Okay. But it's mine. Right. And it's, the problem is that there are challenges in every business. And if you're not willing to be honest with yourself and recognize so that you can correct them, then you'll just continue to cast them aside and they will flare up in bigger ways and more often, longer. And the bigger you get, the longer you're in business. Even if you don't get bigger, just the longer you're in business, they'll continue to flare up. And, we have clients that have been in business for years now, and they're dealing with these issues. And I'm like, until you decide to deal with the issue and resolve it completely, which, by the way, is going to require you to do things differently than you've ever done them before.
Right. Yep.
Right. Which is not easy, right? You got 10 years under your belt of running a business. You're not going to dramatically make a change overnight. It's probably going to take the better part of 6 months to a year to transition something.
Right. Yep.
So, but it's not going to go away. It'll never go away. If anything, it'll only get worse over time.
Yeah.
Or if you scale, it's going to get substantially worse really fast.
Yeah.
Because whatever cracks you have are just going to, just continue to get bigger or create more problems.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And even just working with a specialist in one area, maybe you're really good at, you're good at numbers and finance, right? But maybe bringing somebody in to look at, I don't know, like marketing or something, right? Or an HR person as you start building a team, like that may make sense, right? You may have everything pretty well locked down, but maybe there's one area that's not quite your specialty. Bring somebody in to level that area up too. So I think that makes
absolutely
sense. So cool. Well, Eric, it's been great. Thanks again for the insights today and in the past episodes. And again, if you're interested in becoming a coach, or maybe you're a coach and finding that it's a little tougher than you thought it was going to be, and you need a little bit of help and guidance and the support of other coaches and business professionals, definitely check out mybizcoaches.co and /coach, or just scan that QR code. And again, don't forget to subscribe, and hope to see you on the next episode. Thanks, Eric.
Awesome. Thanks, David.